Chapter: The Archives Unveiled. The sphere hummed softly as it ascended from the ruined plaza, its sleek obsidian shell reflecting the bioluminescent glow of the canals below. Inside, the team regrouped in the control room, boots leaving wet prints on the metal floor, the sharp scent of seawater and burnt ozone still clinging to them. Shaking off the adrenaline from their battle with the sea serpent, they exchanged wary glances, the weight of what had just happened settling in. Kira glanced back at them from her console, her fingers tight around the controls, scanning for any lingering threats. What the hell happened out there? I saw the serpent, and then... What? An octopus decided to save the day? That was too close, she said, her tone sharp with concern. I hope you all realize just how dangerous this place really is. Jace slumped into a seat, a grin on his face. Let's just say the octopus has better aim than I do. That snake didn't stand a chance. Miles leaned against a railing, wiping sweat from his brow. That was close, and it's just the beginning. Expect bigger threats here. This place is no picnic. He straightened and turned toward Kira. I need you to send an underwater drone to scan the whole area. I want to know what else is down there before something else decides to come up for a fight. Already on it, Kira replied, her fingers flying across the console. Theo, still catching his breath, stepped forward. We need to make it to the archives library. If I can access their glyphs, I might be able to figure out their language and decode some of their systems. Miles nodded thoughtfully. Agreed. Kira, where's the nearest drop point for the archives library? Kira turned to Anna, the sphere's AI. Aina, find us the closest drop point. Aina's calm, melodic voice filled the room. The nearest drop point is slightly further from the archives library to avoid damaging the ruins with the sphere's shield. I recommend landing near the central temple dome. It is structurally intact and capable of withstanding minor disturbances. Miles nodded. Do it! Take us there. The sphere glided through the misty ruins, descending gently near the central temple dome. As the team disembarked, they marveled at the towering structure before them. The temple's dome stood defiant against the decay of time, its surface smooth and unmarred, while the surrounding ruins lay crumbled and overgrown. This building, it's a fusion of Greek architecture and modern technology, Lena remarked, running her hand along one of the marble-like columns laced with glowing metromite veins. It's breathtaking, Jace smirked. Please, not another serpent, Miles. I'm all tapped out on heroic moments for today. Miles shot him a look. Demon, stay sharp, weapon ready. Demon nodded, gripping his rifle. Miles turned to Kira. Any threats nearby? Kira scanned the area through the sphere's external sensors. Negative. The archives library appears empty. Proceed with caution. The team approached the massive circular building. The archives library loomed before them, its rounded shape reminiscent of a grand marriage hall. Despite its age, its walls were adorned with intricate artwork, some weathered, some pristine. Metromite veins pulsed faintly along the walls, casting an ethereal glow. As they stepped inside, the entire hall illuminated, as if detecting their presence. Miles squinted at the glowing walls. Kira, how is the light powered? Where's it coming from? Aina answered instead. There are no physical bulbs. The energy can light any point in space using controlled metromite energy, which can emit light in any color or intensity. Kira added, the room has some sort of motion detection, she noted. The lights turn on automatically as soon as someone enters. The team stood in awe as they examined the space. The circular walls were lined with smooth cabinets, each marked with glyphs but devoid of handles. There were no books, no scrolls, just empty, pristine space. Lena frowned. Where are the archives? It looks empty. This was supposed to be a public library. She ran a gloved hand along one of the smooth panels. Where are the books? Theo stepped forward, intrigued by the glyphs on the walls. He pressed his hand against one, and with a faint hum, a section of the wall slid open, revealing a drawer-like structure. Inside, there were no books, only a sleek metallic device on one side and an array of small, colorful crystals on the other. The crystals, about 50 in total, varied in size and gradient, their shimmering colors shifting as Theo examined them. These are solid, Theo murmured, picking up one of the crystals. They must have been stored here for centuries, yet they're perfectly intact. How did they survive underwater? Crystals can withstand extreme temperatures and pressure, Lena explained, studying them alongside him. But this is something else. Jace leaned over, grinning. Superman's ice home had crystals, too. Maybe he lived here. Theo ignored him, placing one of the crystals into the metallic device. Suddenly, the room transformed. The lights dimmed, and the entire space came alive with a breathtaking 360-degree panoramic display of glyphs and visuals. The walls and ceiling projected vibrant, glowing images that seemed to hover in midair. The team stood frozen, their faces bathed in the surreal light. Miles's voice was low with awe. "What the hell is this?" Theo's eyes widened as he turned in a slow circle. "It's their computer. These crystals, they're like hard drives. This is their way of storing data." Lena shook her head in disbelief, running her fingers through the glowing projection. "Our world looks primitive compared to this. A breathtaking computer that can transform any space into a massive interactive screen. We're still arguing over display resolutions, and they built an entire reality around their technology." Jace folded his arms, taking in the glowing projections surrounding them. "Well, that settles it. No need to buy TVs, monitors, or go to the movies ever again. Just stick a crystal in the wall and boom, instant home theater." He smirked, glancing at Theo. "Let me guess, they had a streaming service too? Atlantean flicks?" As Theo removed the crystal, the room returned to normal. He opened another cabinet and found more crystals and a similar device. Placing a different crystal into the circular holder slot, the room transformed again, this time displaying a new set of visuals. The air filled with the sound of a voice speaking in the Atlantean language, soft, melodic, and unfamiliar. A visual of a flower appeared, and suddenly the room was filled with its scent, sweet, rich, and utterly intoxicating. Lena gasped. "Oh my God! I can smell it! This computer has a scent feature. It's incredible." Miles inhaled deeply, catching the blend of jasmine, roses, and something else. Something ancient, yet familiar. He exhaled, a smirk tugging at his lips. So Atlantis mastered clean energy and also invented air fresheners that actually work. Guess they really were ahead of their time. Jace took a deep sniff, tilting his head. Jasmine, roses, and a hint of way too fancy for an ancient ruin. He smirked. What's next? A Metromite-infused cologne line? Ode Atlantis! Smell like a lost civilization. The drone following them was capturing everything. Miles pressed his comm. "Kira, are you seeing this?" Kira's voice came through, astonished. "Speechless! This is the most advanced graphical user interface I've ever seen. The entire history of Atlantis could be stored in these crystals." Miles nodded, his mind already racing. "Kira, analyze and record everything. Decode the visuals and language. Figure out what we're looking at." He turned to Theo and Demon. "You two stay here. Figure out their glyphs, their language, whatever you can. You've got the master computer. Learn how to use it. Lena, you're with me. We'll check out the neighboring buildings." As the team split up, the glowing halls of the Archives library seemed to hum with the secrets of Atlantis, waiting to be uncovered. Miles's jaw tightened as he stepped back into the ruins. They had only scratched the surface, and already Atlantis was proving to be more extraordinary and more dangerous than any of them had imagined. Theo adjusted his glasses as he inserted the crystal into the console, the archive chamber humming to life around him. The holographic interface flickered, and suddenly a series of visuals filled the air, glowing, near three-dimensional projections dancing in the dimly lit library. The drone beside him hovered silently, its sensors capturing and transmitting everything back to the sphere where Kira monitored from the command center. "Theo, I'm receiving the feed!" Kira's voice crackled through the comms. "What exactly am I looking at?" Theo leaned in, his fingers tapping the controls to sharpen the projection. The first image displayed a massive airship, its sleek aerodynamic frame pulsing with metromite veins. It moved effortlessly through the sky before seamlessly diving into the ocean, its propulsion system leaving shimmering ripples of energy in its wake. This is an Atlantean transport system," Theo murmured, adjusting his glasses as he studied the details. "They didn't just master underwater travel, they could fly." There was a pause before Kira responded, her voice laced with disbelief. "You're telling me they had flying submarines? You're joking!" "I don't joke about history." Theo shot back, captivated by the moving images. Look at the way it moves. This isn't just some primitive airship. They manipulated energy fields. If I had to guess, the Metromite allowed them to alter gravitational forces, reducing weight and friction. That's how they could travel so seamlessly between the sea and the sky. Kira whistled low through the calm. That would explain how their influence spread across the world. No borders, no oceans stopping them. Theo nodded, already captivated by the next projection. The image shifted to reveal a sacred grove, its towering bioluminescent trees pulsing in sync with a glowing pool at the center. Figures stood around it, some kneeling, others tracing intricate patterns in the air. Kira's voice turned curious. "This doesn't look like technology." Theo studied the scene before responding. "It's not. It's a spiritual site." My guess? This is where they honored the Earth's energy. The glyphs suggest it was more than just a religious ritual. It was about balance. They didn't worship deities the way we think of gods. They believed the natural world had a rhythm, and they were part of it, not above it. Kira's voice softened. "That's beautiful. And also very different from how we treat our planet." Theo's lips pressed into a thin line. "Exactly!" The projection flickered, shifting to a grand amphitheater, its architecture impossibly elegant. Inside, figures moved in synchronized motion, their gestures triggering waves of shifting light, sound, and energy. The entire space reacted to the performance, glowing patterns swirling with the movements of the performers. Theo's breath caught. This isn't just a theater, it's an immersive storytelling experience. They blended light, music, and even scent to create performances that weren't just seen or heard, they were felt. Kira let out a low chuckle. "So Atlantis had 4D theaters while we still argue about CGI?" "Something like that," Theo murmured, still mesmerized. They didn't just live, they experienced life. Art wasn't a commodity here, it was woven into their very existence. The holograms continued, revealing massive irrigation systems powered by Metromite, star maps carved into stone, and underground archives brimming with glowing scrolls. Theo's voice dropped to something almost reverent. They had everything: knowledge, beauty, harmony, and they lost it all. There was a brief silence before Kira spoke again, softer this time. "Maybe they didn't lose everything, Theo. Maybe they left it behind. For us." Theo inhaled sharply, the weight of her words settling in. He reached for another crystal, determination flickering in his eyes. "Then let's make sure we're listening this time." The drone hovered closer, capturing every detail as Theo pressed the next crystal into the archive, uncovering yet another forgotten piece of Atlantis' history.